So we're talking Facebook groups. I talk about Facebook groups because I have a couple of programs around them, and the reason why I do put some focus on Facebook groups is because Facebook group, if you've got your own, it's a great way to build your audience, and as your group grows, obviously expand your reach, and you'll get clients from your Facebook group as well if you position yourself right from the beginning as the expert of the community, not just the admin. So that's why I think they're an absolute cracker of a way to get known and grow your clientele as well. Another good thing about Facebook groups is that they are really great as it grows, and your group becomes a known group. They become really, really good for attracting other influencers to you as well. And then that starts to open up a whole lot of doorways to other things as well. So, great way to get yourself known, increase your presence. And obviously to get clients, and that's Facebook groups. So, some of you within this particular group of mine, the Spotlighters group for coaches and change makers, will have a Facebook group, and some of you will be thinking about growing a Facebook group. That's my cocky in the background, by the way. The galahs are all coming in, so she's yelling out to them. So expect some noise in the background, that's fine. One of those days today where I've woken up with a crick in my neck. So if I'm looking a little bit unanimated and quite frozen, it's because I don't want to move too much, and I'm a little bit sore at the moment, but not to worry, we soldier on. So if you have an existing Facebook group, what happens with, groups, and, most groups are going to face it at some time, is that your group tends to go stale or there's not a lot of engagement happening on. So we're going to talk today about 3 reasons why your Facebook group is not engaging. And the first one, the first thing I want to put out about that is that often we'll think, oh, they're not engaging, like it's kind of like our group members' fault. But the reality is we have to entice them to engage. There's a lot of other groups out there to take their attention. So it's up to you as an individual group owner to create the engagement within your group and not leave it up to your group members. So it's not your group members' job to create engagement. It is your job as the group creator, if you want a thriving group that's going to keep on building with engagement, that your group engagement is up to you. Why would you want engagement in your group? Because it gets Facebook on your side. And if you've got engagement happening in your group, Facebook are going to help you out a lot. They're going to show your group to more possible members. So it will be, it will be put around in suggested groups in that right-hand column. When I ask people, where did you hear about my group? When they come into this particular group, the majority of people have seen it because Facebook have stuck it as a suggested group to them. And that's really where you want your group to be, because that way Facebook does a lot of the job for you in bringing you new members. Hello, Terry, and hello, Neha. Engagement is a creation thing, Terry, and that's not so much what we'll talk about today. It is creating it. But for people who don't have engagement in their group, or they think that it's lulling, I'm just going to really touch on those reasons why it's not happening. But the first thing I wanted to say is why it's important to get that engagement. Because like I said, if your group's engaging, Facebook go, oh, thriving group. And they tend to throw you more members your way. And it takes away a lot of the hard work for you of running around trying to find group members, or watching your group grow at such a slow pace. If your group's growing at a super slow pace, you know that Facebook isn't helping you out. Little tip, if you have a Facebook group, is in those questions, the entry questions, you can have 3 entry questions, is to ask people, where did you hear about this group? And you'll start to find out, is Facebook helping me out? If nobody's hearing about it because they found it, it was suggested to them. You'll hear a lot of people say, I saw it in an ad. It's not an ad. You haven't paid for that. Facebook have thrown the banner as a suggested group on the right-hand side when they're in one of their other groups. So that's how you really want Facebook to help you out. And to make sure also that your group is coming up should they be searching for a group. If people are searching for a group for coaches, mine is going to come up, I know, because that's the other place a lot of people tell me. The third place that people will tend to tell you about Facebook groups is word of mouth as well, but I find that's probably less. The vast majority of people are finding it when they do a search for a certain keyword. For mine, it's coaches or coaching, and it will come up. And the other one is Facebook have shown it to them in an ad, as I said, is what you'll often see, but it's not. It's the banner showing up as suggested groups. So 3 reasons why your group may not be engaging. I could actually do you a list of 100 reasons, but I'm going to go with these 3 reasons for today. And if anyone wants to ask questions or anything about your particular group and engagement, by all means, pop them in the comments. They are popping up this time, so I will be able to see them. And if I can answer, I certainly will. So number 1, there's nothing to engage with. If there's nothing in your group that's enticing people to engage, then they simply won't. You may have the watchers. So here's what happens. So in groups which are very centered on building the authority or in an attempt to attract clients, a lot of group owners tend to post all their knowledge, their learning posts, their value posts, all that sort of stuff. And the fact is, learning posts, value posts are great for people to watch and learn from. So they might, soak up the information. The vast majority of people, because they're longer, won't stop. They'll scroll on by. So they are a way to capture your really hotter, interested people in the work that you're delivering. So they're good in that. But people do not tend to engage with them. If you scroll through any currently engaged Facebook group, like this one, for example, see where people are engaging with. So you'll see engageable content, and it's not the longer value posts and it's not promotional posts. So you have to create the type of posts in your own group that people will stop and engage with. Business groups, for those of you who have coaching or business groups, sometimes yours can be a little bit heavy. I'm very focused on, yes, teaching, giving value. And that's great. You want to have a sense of that because you are building your authority. You are showing people what you can deliver, but they won't stop and engage. So make sure you have engageable type questions. And with your questions, I go into a massive load more in the Facebook Group Magicians 8-module program that you can work through in your own time and work on your group while you're working through that. So I start to segment all those type of engagement questions for you. But the thing you've got to just think top of mind is this easy to engage with? If the question is easy to engage with, you will get that engagement starting to happen. So if people are not engaging in your group, it's because there is nothing to engage with, and people will tell me, oh, but I post all the time. And when I go and look at what they've posted, it's non-engageable material. So you have to take yourself back to all the time, sometimes being even a little frivolous. And one of the things I'd say to you too is inject some fun, because Facebook is social media, and social media requires an element of fun. Yes, you might have a teaching or learning based group and you want people to convert into your clients, but because it is Facebook and it is about social media and fun, you want to inject an element of the fun. So when you are doing engaging type questions for them, and it's questions that work and short questions too, as I said, go and look in any group and have a look to see what people tend to engage with. And they are something where they can either give a quick opinion to without having to necessarily overthink, or something they can just give, it's a short answer to in some way. So either a quick opinion-based response. I saw one in there today about money, and people were just giving a yes or no, and Eston, who posted it, was asking oh, give me a bit more information on that. But it was getting engagement because it was the type of opinion based question that people can say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't. So you're getting them to engage. And then you can do your more frivolous fun posts as well. A lot of business owners will shy away from the frivolous fun posts and go, ooh, that's not what my group is about. But if you want some quick engagement, a little dose of those at times is going to help boost that up as well. So engagement style questions are easy to respond to. Teaching and learning based posts that are not particularly asking questions but are focused on teaching or putting a point across are not necessarily going to induce engagement, even though people may be interested in reading it. So you can see how in your Facebook group you need to have a mix going on. So that's number one reason. There's nothing there to engage with. Go and have a look in your group and see, am I throwing some engagement producing content in here? Much more about what that engagement producing content is in Facebook Group Magicians. So if you really want to master your group, I would suggest having a look at that and jumping in on it. The bonus is you do get a monthly Q&A call with me for life. I'll keep doing them for as long as you need or want them. With me. That's a monthly Q&A, so it'll be group where we continually to analyze, look, and help you out with your group as well. Number two, this one's always interesting because this catches the people who are really, really prone on getting as many numbers as possible in their group. And in doing so, they're looking for the quick growth by adding every person that asks to join that group. It's the accept all button and then my numbers will grow. This is what can happen. And so you will have to look at your group and see, is this what the problem is? If you are adding too many people into your group, they're actually not your ideal target market. You can get a lack of engagement. And I'll give you a great example in this group. We do have quite a lot of VAs. So there's a decent, there's a portion of the membership that is made up with businesses that are services to coaches. Now, some of those businesses are not coaches themselves. And so they don't tend to interact in the group, but they are there watching, looking for the opportunities where someone, for example, might require a VA. So we actually have limited the amount of service-based businesses. We think we have enough. So we don't tend to admit too many of those anymore at all. So you want to look at the balance of your group and make sure that the bulk of your group is actually made up with your target market and not those that are wanting to come into the group because you have their target market, which is what happens when you are building a group and just adding everyone because you want those numbers to grow quickly. So you can have a high numbered group but little engagement because your actual ideal target markets, there's not enough of them and it's too many of the services based or the other people, for example, that are in there for other reasons but not really about engaging. So that can happen to you. So being very mindful of not putting all the wrong people in your group because wrong people will not engage or they'll head the group in the different directions where they want to take it as such. So be very mindful of that. So that's another reason, reason number two. You have a lot too many of the wrong people. So they are the type of people who are not going to engage with the content or the questions that you're putting in there because your questions and content should be matching the target market that you're wanting to fill your Facebook group with. And so that's the stuff you're going to put in there for them to engage. But if there's too much people in there that are outside that particular target market that you're focusing those questions on, they're not going to be responding to that. So that's another reason why your Facebook group may not be engaging. Happy to answer any questions, by the way. If you have them, by all means, pop them in. I feel like I've got a bit of more movement now that I've body must be warming up a bit now from my frozen neck in some way. Third reason why your group isn't engaging it's catch 22 or the full circle because you don't have engagement in the first place. So what engagement does is not only does it get Facebook on your side in showing your group to potential new members, so they do a lot of the work for you in bringing you new members and membership requests, but if there's no engagement in the group, your group algorithm will tend to go down. It goes, okay, they're not engaging in here, so not going to be sending out all the notifications. And so therefore less and less people are getting to see what's happening in the group. So less notifications are going out because nobody's engaging. So nobody's being drawn into the group through the notifications, for example. It's just a circle that doesn't end. And if you get trapped in that circle that doesn't end, you've got to look to break that circle. So that means why you have to be so focused on creating the type of questions that people engage. Now, because you may be trapped in that circle of I've got no engagement, and even when I'm putting the engagement producing questions in here, people still aren't responding. It's because they're not seeing them, because you got trapped in that no engagement circle. So the algorithms from Facebook are saying we're not showing this stuff to anyone because nobody's in here anyway. So you're going to have to persist. The only way out of it is to persist, or bribe some of your friends who are group members to come in and make sure that they are engaging. So at least Facebook can see that people are getting, that the group is starting to fire up. You should only need 1 to 2 weeks to fire your group up engagement-wise. If it's taking any longer than that to start to see some results, I'm starting to see some people starting to engage, it's taking longer than 2 weeks, you're not doing the right stuff. If this group goes on a lull, and it can, and sometimes I'll just let it to give me a rest for starters. It's only going to take me 1 week to fire it up, and then it gets pumping again. But for groups that have very little engagement, you may have to persist until you make that happen, and you may need to get creative around enticing people to actually come into your group and engage as well. So those engagement creative ways is what some of the things that I teach in the program Facebook Group Magicians as well. It's work at your own pace as well. So Nia, what have you got here? I've started a Facebook group for Indian families and families who enjoy Indian culture. In it, I do weekly Facebook Lives where I sing and dance and read stories in Hindi and Punjabi and Tamil. But God, do you really? Wow, you're amazing. Basically, edutain. I love that word. It's educate and entertain put together. So I'm very fascinated by this topic and also how to grow the group. Are they engaging as you do that stuff? And if they are, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. If they're not, you have to go into the question mode. Question modes at this moment are the thing that people are mainly responding to, and I mean quick question mode. If people have to overthink, but debate type questions are great for engagement, but debate type questions will tend to bring out your more confident group members. If you want to if anyone's got a group and you feel I've got a lot of lurkers here, and they lurk because they either feel there's nothing there to engage with, so they just lurk and watch. They don't feel that they have the voice to add to any of the conversations, particularly if they are quite heavy conversations, which some groups absolutely love. And I don't mind a heavy conversation every now and then, but they won't necessarily always bring in your less confident lurkers. They'll bring in your more confident ones. So when you know the different levels that your group members are at, you'll be able to create an engagement strategy around it. And that's why in Facebook Group Magicians, I do talk about the different levels that you've got within your Facebook group and how your engagement strategy has to take care of those different levels. So you might have one type of strategy for that level, the lurkers. You might have another type of strategy for your experts and your confident people in there. Hi, Nova. Well, you just did spark up your Facebook group with me, so you should be a full bottle on all this now. And they're the things that are going on. So it's not just a case of just throw in some random questions, though that should work to some extent. If you want to get really clever and really smart about building continual engagement in your Facebook group, it is about acknowledging and knowing the different levels within your group and where those people are playing with at and what type of engagement they need for them to engage in your group at those different levels. I hope that makes some sense and I've explained that in a way that people can understand that. Your first step to just getting any type of engagement happening is just go with the easy questions. The no think this is easy to respond to. Your thinking in question, that's at a different level for different levels of people to play with, and they are great for engaging those people at that level. But you've also got your non-thinking people who just want something easy and fun in your group to engage with. So, yeah, I know, Nova, and it's good to see you as well. So you have to be thinking of that level as well. And then there's also your teaching level, like what I'm doing right now. And your Facebook Lives and your teaching stuff may not get, in fact, I guarantee it probably won't get the same type of much bigger engagement that a simple question will get. So, yes, we use these tools like I am right now to educate. But you also have to use, and I like your word, Nia, where it talks about entertain. Your group is in some way a place to make sure that your group members are entertained as well. Not every group member is in there to consistently. Yes, they want some wisdom and knowledge to take in and to learn, but not all your group members. In fact, I'd say the vast majority of them are not in there to be consistently learning. They're in there for other reasons. Connection. Yes, there is that learning, but they're in there for connection as well. They're in there for the social aspect. This is what you must remember about your group if you are realizing you aren't socializing it as much as you can, because it's the social based groups, even the business groups, if they are social based where there's lots of questions and conversations going on, that are getting all the engagement. So I hope that helps everyone. I won't stay here too long. I do have to prepare for my Kickstart Your Influence people coming on soon with me. So start to work out what is happening in your group and what you may be missing in terms of the engagement. And if it's missing, you have to bring it in because they won't bring it in for you. And every group owner needs to lead. And so when you lead as the group owner, and put out the type of content that you know is engaging, your group members will tend to follow. And then they'll come in and they'll start to put out that type of content as well. And then you'll get everyone within your group engaging. You'll set up that engagement circle. When you're stuck in the non-engagement circle, that's probably the hardest place to be because you need to break that circle. Because as I said, when you're in the non-engagement circle, Facebook actually aren't showing your stuff to any of your group members anyway. So any engagement that goes on there, there's probably mainly you posting. Facebook aren't actually sending that out as notifications to many people to actually draw them into the group and come have a look and see what's going on. Okay. Alrighty. So good stuff there. 3 reasons. There's nothing to engage with. So make sure you put engagement producing content out there. Second one was there's too many of the wrong people in there. And third one, you've already got stuck in the non-engagement producing circle and you've got to work really hard and quite creatively actually to get yourself out of that because Facebook are not, once you're stuck in that, going to help you get out of it. So if you want your group to work and to grow, you've got to pull yourself out of that non-engagement circle. So you have to get a little bit creative about how you're going to do this. If you're stuck on that, please make sure to join Facebook group Magicians. It is a work at your own pace. So there's 8 really, really, really in-depth models on the whole process of creating, growing, getting the engagement happening in your group, and then actually monetizing that entire group as well. 8 in-depth modules across the board of everything you could possibly think of about how to grow the group. Most people have very surface knowledge on Facebook groups. I've been studying Facebook groups for years now, not just my own group, but obviously talking to my friends who some of the biggest Facebook groups out there and get the best engagement and make lots of great money and clients in abundance from their groups as well. So I've taken everything and put it into that course. So if you want to learn stuff and actually start applying it to your group in your own time, so it's not like you have to show up for live classes or anything. You can work through it in your own time. Check the link that I've put there and go check that out. It's Facebook Group Magicians. As I said, we do have a small Facebook group for people coming into that, and I do a monthly live Q&A as a group call, and that's where you can come in, ask your questions about your specific group, get strategies, get your problems sorted that's happening in your Facebook group. Celebrate your Facebook group if it's starting to really fire up and do well, because that's amazing. Share with one another, how you're attracting clients. I've got some people in there who are doing an amazing job right now with getting clients in small groups, under 500 people. And so do not feel that your group has to be massive before you can monetize it. That's not true at all. So I have clients that are doing very well from their Facebook groups, and their groups around 300, 400 people. Yes, we are focused on growing those groups so they do even better, but you can start monetizing right from the very beginning. It's one of the things I talk about in Facebook Group Magicians is how to make sure you're positioning yourself for that to be happening and not have to wait till you hit a certain limit before you think, oh, now I can monetize. That's not true. All right. So really love to invite you into Facebook Group Magicians, and then have that monthly live group session with me where we look at each other's individual groups and help each other out as well. And that's for life. You can have that as long as you want and as long as I'm doing this. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm glad, Nia, that you enjoyed the tips. I'm glad that yours is really, really different, the sounds of your group. Nia, I'm loving the sound of that one. And I would imagine it's highly targeted as well. So that sounds great. All right, see you everyone. I've got to get onto my Kickstart Your Influence. If you want Facebook Group Magicians or if you have any questions about it, just message it. If not, just click that link. It'll take you to the page and you can go check it out and see what you think. But it's very straightforward. Just sign up, work your way through the 8 modules in your own time. Make sure you're applying everything that I teach you in those modules and in those trainings to your group so that your group grows, thrives, engages, and brings you clients as well. Plus, big plus, as your group grows in name. So this is where your group kind of needs to get a bit larger, really, honestly. So you can get clients from any size group as long as you position yourself right. But your group kind of needs to get to a certain level in numbers before it starts to open doors to you, to other people with other groups, and they start to reach out to you for collaborations, shared opportunities, sharing one another's audiences, all that cool stuff that then introduces you to even a greater range of your target market. That comes as your group tends to grow and you're really establishing yourself as the leader of that group. So you want to be positioning yourself for that. We talk about that and show you how in Facebook Group Magicians. So it's a great program for you to sign up for. I would love you to get into that, work at your own pace, and just come along each month to those live group sessions with me where we just talk groups and your group in particular. All right, bye for now. I'm Vanessa Talbot. What I do is work with coaches and change makers on building a large presence as a coach and a name coach. Really have you get known so that client attraction becomes easy because they're just coming to you. Bye for now.